Welcome to the Mystic Media channel. I'm your host, Rabina Rastaban, aka the Real Talk Astrologer. And tonight I am honoring a special request from one of my viewers. And the message that I received really intrigued me because I'm always drawn to crisis situations. And that has to do with my North Node being in Scorpio and Scorpio being on my midheaven or 10th house cusp, which is the house cusp that deals with career. So I'm always attracted to situations where somebody is either in crisis or they're just going through some type of serious dilemma. And that's what this young lady is going through right now. So I'm going to call her Miss Libra because she's a Libra. She's born on October 18, 1987. And she has questions about a man that she is involved with. They live together. And he is an Aquarius born on January 30th, 1984. So I just wanted to read some of the email that she sent me that basically got my attention, and it explains the reason why I'm doing this reading for her. So she says, my close friends tell me I should write a book. The level of difficulty I've had to maneuver in my lifetime has never really made sense. My friends always have said that I can't seem to ever catch a break. I really dislike when people say that, but it's low-key true. I've had friends even speculate that someone must have put a root on me. Shaking my head. I refuse to accept this, and I pray to the Most High and my angels for protection and guidance, and I don't feed the negative by accepting that. So she goes on to write about her background. She writes, I lost my parents when I was 4 years old, ward of the state. I lived in orphanages and hospitals until I was adopted. In parentheses, she wrote, I suffered from severe PTSD for years that my adopted mother had to help me overcome. She was a nurse. Then I lost my adopted parents. I was 17 or 18 and abandoned by the rest of the family, the same family that adopted me years prior. After all of this, I spent years homeless and living pillow to post. If I wasn't as spiritual minded as I am, then I would have lost my mind years ago. However, I'm always thinking of the meaning behind things. I always felt that these events are happening for a reason and that one day the universe will balance out and for once, things will be easier for me. I always felt in my heart that I would be successful because that's the only way everything in my life would make sense. The universe has to align, right? So I'm going to stop right there because she wrote more. But I'm going to get into her natal chart, and I'll talk to you directly, Miss Libra. I'm going to discuss your natal chart regarding your background and you losing your parents and becoming a ward of the state. So I'm going to provide the astrological indicators of that I see in your chart. So, but before I do that, let me talk about your numerology. So you're born on the 18th, and 18 for a birth number is very difficult in a lot of cases. I would say in most cases. 18 is a number of conflict. It's a number of aggression. It's a number of where your spirituality is in contrast with your material life. So your spiritual life is in contrast with your material life. And you mentioned you having this grasp on spirituality, and that has helped you get through these tough times. So 18 is a number of spiritual testing, and it's a number basically where it's very hard for you to get love in this lifetime. And then your life path number is the 8, and you're already aware of that because you mentioned that in the email. So that basically compounds the challenges in your life because 8 is a number of karma. It's the number of Saturn, as you already know. So you came into this life with some serious karma that you have to live out. Basically, you've accumulated a lot of karmic debt from your past life. And that's why you have to atone for the sins committed in your past life in this current life. Sins or transgressions, shortcomings, whatever you want to call it. So when you said that You said, I've had friends speculate that someone must have put a root on me. Well, there's certain factors in your chart that can make your friend think that, and can make you think that as well. Number one, you have Venus conjoined to Pluto, and they're both at the 9th degree of Scorpio. So just the fact that your Venus is right on Pluto in Scorpio can make you feel like someone has put roots on you, or someone has cursed you, or that your life is just cursed in general. And the 9th degree, that echoes your 18 birth number, because 18 breaks down to 9. And 9 is a number of conflict. That's Mars energy. And then Saturn is conjoined to your ascendant. That means it's right near your ascendant. However, Saturn's in the 12th house. And the 12th house is a house of karma. It's a house of sacrifice. It's a house of misfortune and sorrow. So with Saturn being right on your ascendant, that can produce a very hard life. And even starting from an early age. So like you said, you lost your parents at 4 years old. Just one second. Let me see what degree your Saturn's in. So there it is. So check this out. So there's this thing with astrology called directions and progression. So in terms of direction, when I look at Saturn, when I direct it 4 years ahead, because Saturn is at the 17th degree of Sagittarius. And when I direct it 4 years ahead, it becomes at the 21st degree of Sagittarius, which is the degree of your ascendant. So that basically points to you losing your parents at 4 years old and then becoming a ward of the state. You also have Chiron and Gemini in the 7th house opposing Uranus in Sagittarius in the 1st house. Now, this is a generational aspect because a lot of people have this aspect due to the time, the year that they were born. However, the fact that it's in your 1st and 7th house is very significant, because it's showing that significant life events have befallen you, and a lot of times these events were not of your own doing, and that they were outside of your control, mainly because of Chiron being in your 7th house. And Uranus in your 1st house as well. Anytime we're dealing with the outer planets, or, the slower moving planets, so it's especially like Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, you don't have any control really over those planets and what they do and how they manifest. So the fact that it's in your 1st house, that's showing that your whole life is it's subject to be unstable. You're subject to go through major upheavals, major upsetting changes, with that Chiron and Gemini opposing Uranus in Sagittarius, with the 1st and the 7th house being involved. And the 7th house can deal with basically legal issues. So you mentioned that you became a ward of the state. So that's like working with legal agencies. And also, whenever the 7th house is involved, or Libra, you could always look at it as some type of intervention that took place. Now, like you said, you lost your parents at 4 years old. You became a ward of the state. You lived in hospitals and orphanages until you were adopted. So I looked at your 4th house because your 4th house deals with your early home life, or your home in general, and it deals with your background. So I saw that Mars is ruling your 4th house, because Aries is on your 4th house cusp at the 14th degree. The 14th degree is a challenging degree. It's a degree that means movement and challenge. So just think about that. Movement and challenge. You had to be moved from orphanages and hospitals and whatnot before you became adopted. And then Mars is at the 6th degree of Libra. So whenever I see that hookup, whenever I see Libra being related to the 4th house, so Libra could be in the 4th house, but in your case, Mars rules your 4th house, and Mars is in Libra. So a lot of times that means that there was some type of legal intervention that took place in the home or in your early home life. So that's exactly what happened with you. And then Mars is at the 6th degree, which reinforces the whole thing about intervention, legalities, and also some type of mediation that took place, some type of legal mediation, which is what took place when you became a ward of the state. And then Mars is in the 9th house. The 9th house is one of the houses that deal with adoption and foster care. And then not only that, Mars is conjoined to your South Node in Libra. I'm going to get into your South Node in Libra when I get into your particular relationship challenges. But Mars conjoined to your South Node in Libra also reinforces the theme of being born with heavy karma, because the South Node deals with karmic debt that you've incurred from past lifetimes that needs to be paid back in this lifetime. So that tells me that in past lifetimes, with Mars being conjoined to your South Node in Libra, you weren't that nice of a person. You were actually rather ruthless, and it appears that you pit people against each other, and you were really strategic when it came to dealing with people, and you created enemies wherever you went. Because Libra deals with relationships of all kinds, including enemies, opponents, and rivals. So with Mars is a planet of aggression. It's a planet of conflict. It's even a planet of war. And Libra is one of the signs that is related to the military. So you could have been like a military sergeant and in a past life where you were very ruthless or downright evil, and you were all about trying to outsmart or outwit the enemy or the other side. And basically you were just all about aggression, war, conflict, what have you. And you were bent upon splitting people up. Like I said, you created enemies wherever you went. So that deals with a lot of the challenges that you have been born with in this current lifetime. So whenever somebody has a very, very difficult life, you have to go back to the person's past life profile, because that will tell you a lot about the reasons why they're going through the struggles that they are going through. Now, of course, you're not going to remember these issues from your past life. So that's why that's why people wonder, like, why are these things happening to me? It feels like I'm cursed, what have you. But you need, you need to understand that everybody needs to understand that life is not to be taken for granted, number one. And it's not supposed to be looked at as, oh, in this lifetime, I'm supposed to be, the key to life is to be happy, to be in love. All that stuff that, the movies and TVs try to push on people, that's not the purpose of life. The purpose of life is to learn and to grow and to spiritually evolve. That's the purpose of life. So when we go through these tough challenges, when we have a tough life in general, we need to understand that it's because we have a lot of lessons to learn in this lifetime. So with you, a lot of the lessons that you need to learn is in the area of relationships, and also just becoming more of your own person, becoming more of your own individual, and that deals with your North Node in Aries. So with that South Node in Libra, that also explains why you were basically abandoned from your adoptive family. And then Mars, like I said, is conjoined to the South Node in Libra, and Mars is in square to Neptune in Capricorn. So that deals with you losing your parents at an early age, because Neptune deals with loss. And then it deals with becoming a ward of the state, because Neptune's in Capricorn, and Capricorn deals with government. And then it also deals with, like I said, being abandoned from your adopted family when you were older. And then not only that, you have a T-square. A T-square is an aspect pattern that brings a lot of serious challenges. And your T-square is what is called cardinal, which means that these are like serious life-altering challenges. So you have a T-square between Mars, the South Node in Libra, Neptune, and the North Node in Aries. So that shows, basically that says it all. And especially with Mars ruling your 4th house, your background, your early upbringing. Now Mars is, Jupiter is in your 4th house at the 24th degree of Aries. And the 24th degree can deal with a legal intervention again. And then Jupiter is retrograde, which exacerbates the issues with Jupiter in the 4th house. But Jupiter in the 4th house could basically mean that, you feel like you really don't have a home to call your own. You are really basically just cast out to the world, or even to the wolves, because Jupiter is in Aries. And then Jupiter opposes your sun in Libra. So again, we're talking about the fourth house. With Jupiter being in the fourth house, that means, and opposing the sun in Libra, that means, again, some type of intervention through the state took place in your early home life. So that explains you being adopted. So, oh, and another thing, Jupiter in your fourth house rules your 12th house. And the 12th house deals with loss, misfortune, sacrifice, sorrow, but also adoption and foster care. So there's two houses in astrology that pertain to foster care and adoption, and it's the 9th house and the 12th house. So you have both of them basically being very dominant themes in your chart. Both the 4th, the 9th, and the 12th. And also the 10th as well, and the 10th can deal with the government or government agencies, government intervention. So that explains why, you know, your life was so hard, especially in the beginning part of your life. Now, you mentioned that your adoptive mother was a nurse. So your moon is, and that she helped you out with the PTSD. So this is interesting because your moon is in Virgo, and the moon in Virgo is really good for nursing. And the moon can deal with your mother or adopted mother or anyone in your life that has played a motherly influence or nurturing role. So with the moon being in Virgo, that describes your adoptive mother being a nurse. And then your moon is in the 8th house, and that deals with psychology, mental health, psychoanalysis, also post-traumatic stress disorder. So just like how you mentioned, she helped you out in that respect. The moon is in trine to Neptune in Capricorn, so that reinforces her supporting you and helping you through your PTSD. And Neptune deals with the medical field, so that reinforces her being a nurse as well. Neptune also brings healing, so that shows that she was able to help you heal from the PTSD. And then Moon trine Neptune is also indication that she was an adopted mother, because Neptune deals with adoption and foster parenting. So let's get into this relationship now. So let me finish reading your email. So, okay, so fast forward, and I am in a relationship with this man, and I thought he was a part of my life becoming better, and in some ways he has been. However, he is the most difficult man I've ever had to deal with. This is shocking to me because I thought I had already had my share of difficult men in my life, but this one takes the cake. I thought I was getting an intelligent, nice, kind, driven, considerate, and generous man, but he tricked me. He mirrored me, Rabina. I thought I was too smart to fall for that trick, but I fell for it, and now I'm becoming physically ill from all the stress that he's put me through in this relationship. I have really, really big dreams, and I also hold high expectations of myself. I deal in truths no matter how bitter, but I do use tact. He wants to hide from truth. He's extremely immature, very undeveloped emotionally, hard-headed, stubborn, won't listen to reason, lacks common sense, treats his body like a garbage disposal because he'll only eat junk food. In parentheses, she put literally only junk food. And it's so bad that his family was considering calling an intervention. Damn. He's cheap as hell and looks for every excuse not to spend money, which puts him in many bad situations that he could have avoided if he would have just spent the money. I'm the first woman that he's taken out to eat to a restaurant. Let me stop right there. Now, Miss Libra, you need to go back and read that email that you sent me, because basically you're answering your own question, but let me finish. But and this is like my third time reading that sentence, but I gotta read it again. I'm the first woman that he's taken out to a restaurant. And when was this dude born? 1984. So he's old enough to know. Come on now. Okay, let me finish. Where am I at? Okay. She said, now with that being said, I don't lack self-esteem to where I feel like I have to stay with this. The issue is that at his core, he's such a good guy with such a with such a good guy that it's hard not to forgive him for all the above stated. He also has this innocence about him that he uses to his advantage to make people feel sorry for him to get his way. He could be manipulative like that. He has manipulated me to stay with him for going on 2 years now. The first year was so stressful because I spent the majority of my year trying to pull him up from what felt like the mental depths of hell. We fought just about every day in 2016. He's made much progress in that time, but I had to fight like hell for every bit of progress. He keeps telling me to be patient with him, pointing out the progress he's made so far. He says he can't learn me overnight, but I feel some things are just common sense, but he lacks that. He always says he's never had a real woman like me, and I believe him because this man fights me over everything from food to purchasing a bed to not wanting to buy clothes, shoes, buying furniture. In parentheses, she put, he got mad at me because I bought a couch at the thrift store. Like, what the fuck? He even won't put more than $5 in his gas tank at a time. I've helped him in every way imaginable, and now I feel spiritually and physically drained. Okay, let me stop right there again. So, as I was reading this the second time around, like I said, this is my third time reading it. As I was reading the second time around, I'm like, oh my God, like he's an Aquarius, but he has like I was like, this is Capricorn all day. So I knew he was working with a lot of Capricorn energy before I pulled his chart. All right, so let me go on. If you like, I mentioned a lot of this in my Dark Side of Capricorn Mel video, so it's a good idea to check out that video. Even though he's an Aquarius, check out both. Check out my Dark Side Aquarius video if you haven't, Miss Libra, and check out my Dark Side of Capricorn Mel video because both of them pretty much describe his dark-sided characteristics. And then she said, I've helped him in every way imaginable, and now I feel spiritually and physically drained. The problem with just leaving is that I have almost 2 years of income invested in this life we have together, and I've entered into a lease that's not up until January. Also, I love his family so much, but his mother and sister said that they understand if I walk away. I put so much work into trying to help him become a better man, and he believes in himself so much more now, and it hurts me to think about the next woman coming around and reaping the benefits of all of my hard work. But I feel I'm going to have to leave because, wait a minute, I'm going to read that part again because that part is and I'm going to get into that. I'm going to read this part again. You said, and it hurts me to think about the next woman coming around and reaping the benefits of all of my hard work. Okay, I just wanted to reinforce that sentence. But I feel I'm going to have to leave because multiple doctors have told me that my blood pressure is way too high and I've been having dizzy spells like I'm going to pass out from stress. I never had issues with my blood pressure in my life. God bless you if you have taken the time to read all this. What's going on here, Ravina? What the hell? Should I walk away in January or is he going to have some miraculous emotional, spiritual growth spurt? Okay. So, let me get into this man's chart. And we're going to call him, I'm trying to think of a good creative nickname I could call this dude. Let's just call him Mr. Free Ride, because that's how I'm looking at him. Mr. Free Ride. Now, number one, to answer your question, you asked me, because I can answer this one right away. You said, is he going to have some miraculous emotional spiritual growth spurt? My answer is no. It's a definite no. Not with the energy that he's working with. He has tunnel vision when it comes to his life, and he's the type that if he can get away with getting a free ride, he will. Now, he's a 30, and 30s can be prone to trying to get a free ride or trying to live an easy life where, they don't have to spend much money. They don't have to, and a lot of that comes from the Capricorn energy. But combined with his birth number of 30, that's him basically like, okay, I want to live well, but I want to live well on somebody else's dime. So that Capricorn energy, the fact that he's an Aquarius and he's born on the 30th, shows that he has a huge sense of entitlement and he really doesn't want to work hard for what he has. Or if he does work hard, he's going to try to hold on to every little penny that he can because he's like, I had to put in all this work to get it, so I really don't want to spend it and whatnot. So he got a stellium in Capricorn. He got his moon, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, and Neptune in Capricorn. You can't do nothing with that guy. Like nothing. And then with his sun in Aquarius at the 10th degree, that's that free ride degree. 10 is about free rides. Let me check and see what his life path number is real quick. I didn't even check that yet. But then, not only that, he has a stellium in Scorpio, so this like exacerbates the problem because Scorpio on the dark side, when they're passive, can live life like a parasite, can be very parasitic, can be a psychic vampire. So when you said you're emotionally drained and you're feeling sick and all this stuff, it's that stellium in Scorpio that he has. He's draining the life out of you. He is dark-sided for real. Now you said that he has these good qualities and that he's gained much progress and all that stuff, but that's only due to you. Like, if you weren't leaning on him like that, he wouldn't have even changed. Even the little progress that he's made, it wouldn't have happened. So you have to say, okay, I basically built a man, and the man that I built is like a dollar store man. He's not even worthy of being in Walmart. He's like Family Dollar quality, Dollar General. And you can even see it the way he spends money. You said he only puts $5 in his gas tank at a time. He had a problem with you getting a sofa from a thrift store. Like, this dude is ridiculous. You can't make this stuff up. He has a huge sense of entitlement because his Uranus is right on his south node in Sagittarius. And Uranus can bring a huge sense of entitlement. So when I tell you he's in it for a free ride and to get what he could get out of this relationship and out of you, and he will only give you enough to keep you engaged in this and to keep you supporting him. And it might not even be financial. It could just be emotional support. But like you said, since he's so cheap, obviously you're the one who is footing the bill for most of this stuff. Now, I mean, if you ask me, he's a complete asshole. I don't care if he has these redeeming traits. And my answer to you is to get out in January. You know, don't break your lease on the account of this fool. Be strategic, which I know you know how to be because you got that South Node in Libra conjoined to your Mars. And that deals with you saying, oh, I don't want some other woman to benefit from all the hard work that I put in with this man. And that deals with your South Node in Libra conjoined to Mars, because that makes you very competitive in relationships. And again, remember I said in past lives it was like you were about war and conflict. And then you were also saying something about fighting for him or something. And then you got a stellium in Scorpio, which is very hard in relationships because oftentimes either you attract parasitic types. Oh, and that's another thing. His Mars in Scorpio is right on your Venus and Pluto. They're all at the 9th degree. His Mars is at the 9th degree of Scorpio. Your Venus and Pluto are at the 9th degree of Scorpio. So that reinforces his parasitic tendencies towards you and him being a psychic vampire and just sucking all the life out of you. I mean, this dude could really send you into the hospital. Wait a minute, didn't you say you already went to the hospital? Hold on. You said something like about your health. Spiritually and drained. You went to multiple doctors. So, okay, but it could get even worse where this dude could make you end up in the hospital because he's stressing you out so much. Because your moon is in your moon is in Virgo, you're especially sensitive to stress. So you can't afford to have some low life, parasitic, psychic, vampiric, no good, low achiever, despite having a Capricorn stellium dude in your life. And the thing is, with your South Node in Libra, you are accustomed to be in relationships, even though in past lives you were like bent upon creating enemies and stuff. You still had your like band of people, or you had your relationship or whatever, and then it was always about us against them type of thing. So you are so used to being in a relationship that you will settle for any type of relationship like you're doing now just for the sake of being in a relationship. Now, a perfect example of a person with South Node in Libra that has it really bad is Monique. So if you haven't seen my video on Monique, check that out. And also check out her podcast that she has on Periscope. It's called Sydney and Monique's Open Relationship. So if you want a crash course on South Node and Libra and how that can manifest in your life, just watch her in action with Sydney, because basically her whole life revolves around Sydney. She lets Sydney make all the decisions. She basically just looks up to Sydney like he is everything, but at the same time, he's basically destroying her career and I think her whole life. And he seems like he's down low. So with that South Node in Libra, you have to get away from the idea that you have to be in a relationship in order to be happy. In this lifetime, you have to stand on your own. You have to be your own individual. You have to be more independent and stop relying on others to get you through. Now, you had to rely on others as a young child, especially because of your background. But as an adult, you have to learn how to stand on your own and, be strong and be independent. And come January, you're going to step more into your North Node in Aries. Now, I haven't even put your two charts together. I'm going to do that real quick, but I'm going past 30 minutes. Let me just put your two charts together and do the synastry grid. But I already know that he's not the one for you, and he's not going to change. And you need to get the hell up out of there, or get him the hell up out of there come January. So start planning right now. Now, there are some positive aspects between the two of you, but it's mainly coming from him. And like I said, like his Venus is trying your moon. Your moon's in Virgo, so you're very helpful. So, and that was you saying, he's so kind, he's so nice, I would feel bad if I dropped him like that. That's your moon in Virgo, because you really want to help him. But he's taking advantage of that. His Venus is trying your moon. His Mars is sextile your moon. His Jupiter is in trine to your moon. And again, that Jupiter could deal with him trying to get a free ride. His Neptune is in trine to your moon too, so that could deal with him basically being a moocher when it comes to you. Now, his Sun is in trine to your Mars, so that can produce good sexual energy, good sexual relations. So that could have been what kind of pulled you in the beginning. He could have put it on you real good and strong. But his North Node is in quincunx to your Mercury, and his North Node being in Gemini, meaning like he's the type that could switch up on you at any minute, even though you've been like so loyal to him and so helpful to him. And he's also can be very argumentative with that aspect. And you mentioned that, he wants to argue with you about everything. And then his Uranus is in square to your moon. That's usually a bad situation. Let me tell you, I was in a relationship where the guy's Uranus squared my moon, and basically he had a huge sense of entitlement towards me, and he objectified me, where it was like I wasn't even a distinct individual, and that was how he could justify some of his bad behavior towards me. So Uranus squaring one person's moon, in your case, his Uranus squaring your moon, it can be really bad, because in all actuality, he really doesn't respect you. And he probably doesn't respect women in general. And that's why he said this is like the first relationship he's been in with a woman, a real relationship. There's also other situations, like his Saturn is conjoined to your Mercury. His Saturn is conjoined to your Venus. So that's him always trying to curb your own spending. And he's all on you about spending money and stuff, even when it's at a thrift store or whatever. This dude is a trip. But there's really nothing else to say about him. But you know what you need to do. And I'm going to keep in touch with you, because I want to walk you through this and make sure that come January, this man is out of your life. And when I say out of your life, there's no reason to still remain friends with this guy. There's no reason to still help him out. None of that. You need to cut him off seriously. Cut him off like some bad extensions. Do it. You got enough time. Let me see. It's not even July yet. So you got what? You got like 5 months to plan this thing right, to be strategic. Don't let him know right away. Don't let him know what you're doing, because he'll probably try to sabotage you. But start working behind the scenes and, just start putting everything together. Start putting money aside. And if you need any additional help, you know where to find me. Now, I'm still going to be doing a free reading for the month of May. So, if you haven't gotten your questions in for the free reading contest for the month of May, just go to the free reading for April 2017, and then post your information in the comments section, because I'll be doing a free reading in the next few days, and I might do more than one this month. Also, another thing, I just created a new Facebook group. And I would like anybody who is really interested in astrology, and I know a lot of my viewers are, to join this group. So there's going to be a lot of information. It's called Real Talk Astrology. You know, I'm the realist astrologer, so I had to put something real in it. So I'm going to leave the link in the description. So please join this group because, like I said, it's a wealth of information. It's going to be a lot of witty posts. And, you know, I like to keep things humorous at times. But I'm also going to be dropping some serious jewels, too, with respect to astrology, numerology, and all that stuff. So peace and many blessings.